Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So after a very long time I'm back with the series of acrylic paintings. So here we are creating some beautiful artwork using acrylic paints and palette knife. So if you're very new to using a palette knife, or you just discovered like what is this knife looking thing, how do we use this in painting, this is going to be very much helpful for you because I'll be taking you through multiple paintings where you're going to create some very different effects, and surely you will learn how to use a palette knife. So this very first piece, we are just learning how to use a palette knife. How does that work? So we are using the one which has that number one, the smallest palette knife over here, and the motive here is to show some excitement through colors, and you know uh, just to carry on that emotion, we started with very dark colors and like black, purple, violet, and we're just dropping some color in the center of the canvas and spreading it with our palette knife, keeping in mind that the drops should be collected. It should look as if the drops are collected in the center of the canvas and then they're spreading all around. So that was the whole logic behind it. Everyone who participated in this workshop were allowed to use their own choice of colors. They were not limited to use with just these colors that I'm working with. And so yeah, everyone got a very different kind of effect over here. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is we just added a lot of colors in the center, and keeping in mind that the hot color stays on top and the other dark color stays at the base, just to give it a you know a direction, or like it should not look as if it is all crowded over there. So once we are done adding that, we picked up a flat brush and started to blend the colors which were at the end. So this was a very fast process. We did not allow the color to dry. We kept on adding color. We worked really fast with the palette knife. We wanted the center to be little bit rough in texture, and the surroundings, the area around the center should be all smooth and plain and all mixed with colors, so that you can see one color evolving from the other, but at the same time the center will have all the shades individually dropped by dropped among themselves. Then we added some white color drops again in the center, and with the palette knife we started spreading it. It was a very easy practice for people who were very new with a palette knife. So if you have observed, we did not use a lot of water in this process. It was just thick acrylic paint. Now, there was one last thing to do, which was to sprinkle some white acrylic paint, and for that we used an old toothbrush, or if you have a hog brush, you can use that, because toothbrush, I personally like to work with that whenever I need to create these kind of sprinkle. It's super fun and it gives a very beautiful effect. So this is how we completed this artwork, and just removing the masking tape. And so go ahead, try one by yourself and do share that picture with me. And now I'm going to take you to a second picture, which is of a koi fish in a little pond. So yeah, so again, the whole thing we created with palette knife. So we just created a simple sketch with pencil. And for the colors, I'm using yellow deep and lemon yellow, black and white. And using my small palette knife again, what we are doing here is we're picking the color from the palette knife and we're just pressing the palette knife on the paper. We're not trying to spread it or not. We're just pressing the palette knife, and it's by itself is creating a very beautiful fish scale like texture over there. So I have kept that iPad next so that you can see the skin of the fish. It's gone now. Anyways, so yeah, and then just working with these 3-4 colors and just creating that beautiful skin for the fish. The fins I'm not creating as of now, because that's going to be created on top of the surface of water. So we have to create the water layer first, and then we'll be making that fin with our brush. So there you go, it's all done. Now for those lily pads, little leaf like thing that you see, I'm using my sap green and lemon yellow again. Now this time I've taken a bigger palette knife, as you can see that has a little bigger. And what we are doing here is we're keeping the darker color, the sap green color, around or like on the circumference, and as we see the center is getting all light because of the lemon yellow color, and you can see those rough strokes of knife, right? So it gives that feel of the leaf. Now I'm just using my brush just to add a little more darker effect with my black color around the lily pad, right? So see how beautiful it is created. And again, I'm not using any water over here, that's just thick color. I will be doing the same thing for the second leaf that you see on the top. So once you start working with a palette knife, it happened with me. I'm not sure if it happens with everyone. I just don't like using my brush anymore. I enjoy those rough textures and the freshness of the color when they're mixed directly on the canvas using a palette knife. So I just love this process of using a palette knife and creating these beautiful effects. And I'm sure once you start using a palette knife by yourself, you're going to see the difference. Like the effects and the textures, it's really amazing. All right, so as you can see, this is done, the leaves are done. Now for the water area, I'll be using 3 shades of blue over here. So I had that sky blue color, and that's ultramarine blue color. So I just added directly some drops of color onto the canvas and using my small palette knife, because I want that rough texture again, wherein the colors are mixing, but you can see, the roughness and as if the thick water. So creating that kind of effect with my knife. And so yeah, that's such a beautiful effect in water. And just to finish that off, at the top of the paper, I'm using my Persian blue. So 3 shades of blue here. That's sky blue, ultramarine, and Persian blue. If you don't have sky blue, that's ultramarine plus white, you will get that beautiful light effect at the base. So that's one complete coat. And when you work with a palette knife, you don't have to create layers. That is what I feel. You can complete the painting in just one go. But sometimes when I use a brush and I'm making a painting, I kind of give it layers, like 1, 2, or 3 layers. So okay, so as the background is done, I feel I can remove the masking tape and move my paper so that it becomes a little more easy for me to create the fins and the flower. Now for the flower and for the fins, I'm going to use my flat brush, and mostly like the fins are going to be white in color, and let's see what I choose for the flower. Pink maybe, let's see. All right, so starting with the white color and making those flowers. Again, you will see my brush is dry. I did not took any water for this because I need a very rough texture again for the fins. So yeah, that is how I created the fins. Also, just so you know, the top right corner, that's one of the participants from my acrylic class, online class. So it's like a live class that I offer. You create a painting along with me, and whatever queries you have in the live class, you can just ask directly to me exactly at the time when you're having that problem. As in, you're making the painting and you're stuck somewhere, you can just show it to the instructor. So that's the beauty of a live class, right? So yeah, so coming back to the painting, this is how I completed the fish. And see how beautiful the leaves looks when you just give them a little white outline, right? All right, so next is I'm drawing that flower directly with my brush, and I think I'm going to go with a little pinkish color for the flower. So that's just the normal thing like we always do. Color it white, use a little bit of pink, half and half color. Oh, that's not pink. I'm using gray color over here. All right. All right. It doesn't matter. Okay, so that's gray and white, creating that beautiful lotus flower. so this is going to be your second painting using a palette knife, wherein you create those amazing texture for the fish, for the leaves, and for that beautiful blue color water. Again, super easy. Try that and do share a picture with me. So once you complete that, let me take you to my third painting in this series. So I'm not going to tell you what we are going to create over here. Let's work our way through it. So what I did is I changed my palette knife. That's the square shape or the rectangular shape palette knife that you have. And what we did here is we started with some white color drops for the top part and some burnt umber and black color drops for the base. And just using our palette knife, and you can see that the direction I'm using my palette knife is top to bottom. So I'm just keeping in mind that the direction of the color should be same for the background. So that's little roughness over there again, but still you see a direction in the color, right? So that's the background. All right, so we're going to create some beautiful flowers in background, as you can see on the right hand side on my iPad. So that's a very beautiful scarlet lake. Again, I'm adding some color at the back of my palette knife, and we are just again trying to create that effect, using your palette knife. Swish and swash, something like that. So you make a beautiful shape of that flower. That's just two direction, top to bottom, and then one swing from left to right or right to left, whichever way your hand works. I'm left-handed, so for me it's easy to move from left to right. Right, so that's first flower. I'm adding a little bit of yellow color on one side and black color on the other side, and then the center is going to be dark black. That has been done with a brush. So you see, that's how we created an abstract flower. Alright, so let's create a similar kind of flower once again. So same colors, a little bit below that flower now here. So two strokes with your scarlet lake, add a little bit of yellow, add that color behind the palette knife, and then use the palette knife on the paper. So there you go, that's the second flower, adding the center with black color again, and you have two beautiful abstract flowers ready. Let's take some more color behind our palette knife and add some more little buds, flower buds, just complete the composition. So black and red or scarlet lake, whichever color you're taking for your flower. So there you go, that's the first bud. Similarly, I'm going to create 2-3 more around the paper just to balance out the composition. Then these are some black color tiny little leaves or some buds which are still need a lot of time to bloom, right? And it's time to add some stem. So use your 0 number brush, or like I'm using a 4 number brush over here, and adding some stem to all those flowers and the buds and the leaves that we created. Let them be wavy, let them be swinging as if there's a lot of air in the picture. So yeah, see, this is how you complete your third abstract painting using palette knife. So much fun, right? So yes, add some white color dots to the center just to add some more, effect. That's a beautiful painting, right? All right, so that's the third painting for you to create. And let me take you now to the fourth painting using palette knives. Alright, so here we have actually painted the background with a brush. The center is with sky blue and the sides are with cobalt blue color. Same thing I'm doing, I'm adding a single color, that's the leaf green color for the base, without any shading or blending. So that works as the base for us to use. So this is a fourth way of using a palette knife, the easy way of using a palette knife. So here I thought to add some bushes in the background as if they're like very far away. There are some trees over there, or some like bushes, big bushes full of flowers. So I kind of used some shades of violet, pink, dark pink, light pink, white, and kind of created a very subtle effect of bushes over there. nothing hard over here up till now, I believe. So yeah, next thing is to create a beautiful rainbow tree background. Right, so here what we planned was to add a lot of colorful trees in the background. Also, you might have seen these kind of pictures, paintings when you googled. So see, the colors again, those are beautiful red, orange, and yellow color. And using a palette knife, we are just creating, dabbing your palette knife onto the paper. And we want the background blue color should be visible between these dots that we are creating. So they are a little far away from each other, these dots. And then I'm trying to add a little different shapes using the same color. So sometimes you're pressing your palette knife little harder, and sometimes it is very soft, so you get a texture of leaves which are like different shapes basically. All right, and then just using all these colors. So next is orange, then it will be yellow, and then maybe white. So you create those leafy effect, kind of overlapping one color with the other, so that it should look that the trees are very close to each other and their branches are mingling. So that was the logic behind creating this kind of effect. So just to complete this side, we just finished it up with yellow, and this combination can never fail you, with the, like, yellow, orange, and red. They always look so beautiful. At least to me, that's a very beautiful combination. All right, on the other side, I'm starting again with the same red color. That red is basically Scarlet Lake. And here we'll be using shades of pink and purple maybe. So that's a white color added to my magenta color because I don't have a light pink color. So yeah, so that's scarlet and then light pink color going on the other side trees, and same effect. Press your knife, sometimes softer, sometimes harder, so you get different shapes over there. We're not spreading the color, we're just adding color with the knife. And again, whenever I'm using my knife, I try not to use water so that you get that roughness and some beautiful texture of that knife. So yeah, so this is how we completed the base color for the trees. So we have an effect of a pathway which is covered with beautiful colorful trees on both the side. And to make it look more rich in color, what we did here was to use white color in the center, and those white leaves are basically mixing on both the sides with light pink and on the other side with yellow. So it looks as if the person who are going to walk through this pathway, they're going to have a great experience. Whenever they look up, there are going to be a lot of colors, a lot of beautiful flowers. So yeah, so now moving on to the bottom part again, you see we have used that is sap green and lemon yellow. We place some drops of color over there, and then using my 1 number knife, we are just spreading those colors, trying to mix it as if you're using an eraser and trying to erase that portion. You move your knife, and we just mix those colors directly onto the paper. Now we don't try to completely cover that paper because we already added a light, the leafy green color at the base, which will be a little bit visible in between those knife strokes and kind of give you a 3 color effect over there. Now that's the pathway, so adding a little bit of sandiness over there with yellow ochre color. So that completes the side of the bottom part. So now for this little pathway, just to give a little texture to it, I'm using light blue and yellow ochre and just giving it a little rough effect over there. That's it, not adding a lot of color and a lot of effect, otherwise it will neutralize the background. Now when the background dries up a little bit, take your 4 number brush or 0 number brush and add some stem to these trees. Also keeping in mind the perspective of the drawing, I'm adding the stems. The front one are a little bit thicker, and the one which are a little bit far, which are close to the center of the horizon, they're a little thinner. So it gives you a little perspective over there, and see how beautiful this picture looks like, right? Again, a very easy way to use a palette knife here. All right, so let's make a happy couple walking on this beautiful pathway covered with colorful flowered trees, right? Holding an umbrella, and just add a little shadow for them. So yeah, so this is how you complete your painting number 4 using a palette knife and brushes. So this is again a completely different effect you create. All right, so let me take you to my painting number 5. So here we are creating a little pencil sketch, and we'll be creating some vase, some flower pots, or some geometrical shapes over here basically, and containers. And we'll use our palette knife for completing the final effect, the painting. So the colors that we are going to use are black to start with, scarlet lake, white, right? And you can see the knife, that's the rectangular one which we are going to use. First we are going to complete the background, and then we'll work on these 3 objects. So what I did is I added color behind the knife, and I'm trying to create a a texture wherein I'm pressing my knife one time it is standing, one time it is sleeping, so you get a little woven effect over there. And I'm not cleaning my knife, right? I picked up black color once, then I switched to white, and then I switched to red, so you get a little mixed color effect by itself. So yeah, so just fill the background, keeping the whites, the light color on the top of the vase, so that if we make some flowers or something inside those vase at the end, we should have a little light background around it, and the darker colors will go on the outer side of the canvas. Again, thick colors, and you can see the direction of the knife is one time up, one time sleeping, one time standing, and you create that beautiful effect. So here we use the old traditional brush method of coloring the containers, and again I'm just keeping the tone of the painting similar, so using similar kind of colors, that is black, red, white, and a little bit of yellow just to add a little punch to this, but keeping it on very low, not very bright kind of yellow over here, or very bright kind of red over here, so just keeping it a little bit subtle and dull. Same thing for the bottom part. It's a burnt sienna. Using a brush, we just spreaded the color, less water, and we'll be adding a little bit of shadow over there at the end once it dries up. So by far, I believe the background would have been dried, and you can work on top. So let's add some, plants or something like that coming out of that vase. So again, working with your brush, take some black color, make some branches coming out of one of the vase, and create any kind of plant over there. I'm just keeping the tone of the painting similar, so just using the same color again, black, not adding a lot of greens or any other color like blue or anything over here. So yeah, so that's black color for the branches, and then it's almost done. The painting is ready. You're just going to add some shadow for the vases falling onto the table, and there you go. That's again a simple painting created with palette knife and acrylic paints, which I believe anyone can make. So I hope all of you enjoyed this series again, and you're going to give it a try. Do leave a comment which one was your favorite among all these paintings, and I'll be coming back with another series of some acrylic paintings and watercolor paintings. So just keep on liking my videos, leave some comment, share them with people who are willing to learn and they're not able to find some time to join a class. They can go through these videos, and they're very easy, and you can create by yourself. That's the point. So thank you everyone for being a part of Priyanka's art classes, and I'll come back with another video for all of you. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.